On today's Locked On Thunder podcast, the Oklahoma City Thunder survive a scare from the Indiana Pacers, but push their winning streak to 9. SGA had an MVP level performance. We're going to talk about it all on today's show.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're joined today by Brandon Rahbar at Brandon Rahbar on Twitter, dailythunder.com, to discuss the Thunder's win over the Indiana Pacers, making their winning streak 9, even though for the vast majority of this game, it felt like the Thunder were going to drop this one, but SGA's MVP performance saved them. We'll talk about what went right and wrong in this game. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Go download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Brandon, the Thunder get a win over the Indiana Pacers, 120-114. It felt like the Thunder were going to drop this one. I mean, it was a really resilient effort from them tonight.
Yeah, the Thunder spotted the Pacers a 10-0 lead to begin, and it ended up being a 15-point lead at one point. And you just kind of had to wonder, like, they've won 8 straight. Like, everybody loses a game eventually, right? Well, the Pacers had won 5 straight. They'd come in hot. They'd beaten the Thunder 3 straight times. 8 out of the last 10 times the Pacers had beat the Thunder. So you just kind of wonder, no Caruso, maybe it's not the Thunder's night. But then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander happened.
He happened, and he had an MVP level game. Look, it's not all sunshine and rainbows after a win, even though it was a very fun win at the very end. But there were still some things the Thunder have to clean up, which we're going to get to. But in this game where you withstood 11 lead changes, 6 ties, and a 15-point Pacer lead, where the Pacers controlled the game for 2.5 quarters, 2 3/4 quarters, really, before the game started to go back and forth. And then the Pacers got a 2-possession lead in the middle of the fourth quarter that you thought maybe that would be enough, because Indiana kept retaliating for every Thunder run. Indiana had an answer. And to their credit, they played the Thunder tough, created a clutch time situation, which has been so rare for the Thunder. But at the end of the day, SGA took over. And Brandon, I'm not sure how you could vote for anyone else to be MVP other than SGA.
Yeah, I tweeted after the game, SGA needs to move up the MVP ladder. And right now he's second. So if I'm saying needs to move up, I think he needs to be first. The Thunder are number 1 in the West, the tougher conference for the second straight season. They're number 1. They have a pretty big cushion right now. Denver is notoriously struggling right now this season. Obviously, Jokic is incredible, and he's putting up silly numbers, but they have been struggling. And SGA, many nights, have carried the Thunder to win like he did tonight. And he's still doing it with one of the youngest teams in basketball. And his numbers are silly also. Like, maybe he doesn't have the raw numbers that Jokic has, but when you look at the advanced numbers and when you look at like impact on winning and you look at the other side of the ball defense and what he's doing, then you look at nights like tonight where he ties his career high 45 points, but it's in one of the rare games this season where he was needed in clutch time. And what did he do? He responded in a big way. He took over. He hit a dagger 3. He iced the game with free throws. He was just incredible down the stretch. It was an MVP performance. And, you know, at some point you think that maybe voter fatigue, 3 out of the last 4 have gone to Jokic. Like, with Luka's unfortunate injury, he was considered, a dark horse to get back into this race. It looks like right now it will be between Jokic, SGA, and Giannis. Well, Giannis, they don't have the record that the Thunder do. The Nuggets don't have the record that the Thunder do. And those guys have won MVPs. SGA's having yet another MVP season. I think it would be hard to deny SGA if the Thunder end up with the 1 seed in the West. And if the Nuggets aren't a top 3 seed in the West, I don't know how SGA doesn't win it if he keeps putting up those numbers, which I think we all expect he will.
And to that point, I mean, I think that something that people who maybe nationally aren't plugged into this team will look at is that the Thunder are the top seed in the West, which is as expected. So it's like, well, I mean, if you were supposed to be the number 1 overall seed and then you got there, what really have you accomplished in that sense? But it's not because of a lack of adversity. Like, this Thunder team is without its second or third, I would say second, some would say third best player on their roster, and won't have him for a large chunk of this regular season. And that really changes the scope and the lens of how we viewed this team as a runaway number 1 seed, and yet they're still running away with it right now compared to last year where they were the 1 seed, yes, but it was due to a tiebreaker and a miracle in San Antonio. Like, they're not going to need a miracle if they keep playing like this, and if they keep playing like this, it'll be directly tied to SGA. So even with saying the Thunder the 1 seed again, it looks completely different this year. It's battling through injuries, and it's a growing cushion compared to a year ago where it was a 3-way tie, and you really needed some outside factors that separated you from being the 3 seed because we went into that final game going through all the scenarios of would you rather be the 3rd seed, rather be the 1 seed, and they ended up getting the 1 seed due to tiebreaker. But SGA in this game, 45 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 11 for 11 at the free throw line. The free throw attempts did get inflated a bit because the Pacers had to foul a couple times late in this game to try to play and extend the game. But he did go 4 for 5 from 3 and shot 68% from the floor in 38 minutes. Brandon, I agree that SGA completely took this game over, took matters into his own hands to snatch a victory from the jaws of defeat, but it was not at the cost of playing team basketball and making the right decisions. Now, most of the right decisions come from SGA shooting the ball and driving the offense, but he still read the defense very well, made some high-level processing plays that helped the Thunder navigate clutch time, a very rare occurrence for them. I thought that he showed you why he's one of the best players in the world, and he showed you why he's capable of driving the bus for a championship-level team.
Yeah, he was just incredible tonight in all facets. Like you said, it wasn't like he was, selfish with the ball. He still had 8 assists, could have had some more. And he just continues to make the correct decision. Like his maturity and his basketball IQ have always been impressive. But when games get tough, we haven't seen it much this season. Like you said, a rare clutch game. Like SGA has historically been really, really good in the clutch. And so tonight was like a nice reminder, like, hey, this guy can dominate in the clutch. And that's what he did. We just haven't seen it much this season. And, to your point, I think you can throw the preseason expectations out the window with Chet missing this many games, with Hartenstein missing the first part of the season, missing 20 games. Caruso has been out a lot. So like the offseason additions that boosted expectations for this Thunder team, I think they've missed a lot of games, Hartenstein and Caruso. And then obviously Chet being out so much. But the guy that's been there every night, averaging over 30 points a game, he's second in 30-point games this season, by the way, only one behind Giannis now. 18 or 19 straight games of 25-plus points per game, which is leading the NBA. He said last year, kind of famously, my whole life is consistent, but it's true. He is incredibly consistent. He is getting those 30-point games every single night, and he does it efficiently. He plays defense every night, and I think his consistency with injuries, guys in and out of the lineup, good shooting nights, bad shooting nights from other guys, you don't know quite what to expect, but every night you can expect SGA to score 30 efficiently and bring it on defense and make the right decisions with the ball, and that's what he does every night.
And that's why I think that wins have to matter in this conversation, is because you look at tonight, even when they got this win, he was the most valuable player by a wide margin. You take SGA off this team, whenever J-Dub can't score the ball, he goes for 36% from the floor on 22 shots. There's just no other scores on this team. It was all from SGA. No one else made double-digit shots. Jalen Williams had 8 out of 22 attempts that he made, and everyone else is most of 5 for Lou Dort, 4 for Kenrich and for AJ, and then 3 for Hartenstein. That's just the kind of game it was, where you needed everything from SGA. And at the end of the day, this looks like a game in which you went on the road, you took care of business, you covered the 5-point spread from our good friends over at FanDuel, but you still had to lean on SGA a ton. And that's impressive, because when you look at Giannis and Jokic, who aren't having the success record-wise that the Thunder are, what's it a result of? I mean, it's a result of their team, and this is a result of the Thunder have also had to battle team issues. They've had to battle having a roster that cannot consistently shoot. They've had to battle having a roster that is banged up. And Shai has not only navigated that to have individual success, but navigated that to have great team success. And so I think that the wins should matter in this particular race. But coming up, we'll talk about this Thunder game. by and large after giving SGA all of the proper recognition. But first, I want to say right now, our good friends over at Game Time, go check out the Game Time app today because Game Time is focused on togetherness the holiday season. That means you can bring people together at live events, including the Thunder's New Year's Eve game, where you can go to downtown OKC, bring the whole family to that New Year's Eve tradition, and then go around town afterward and celebrate the reunion of a new year. And Game Time is there to help you out. And they're even going to help you filter out the fluff and show you the incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets with Game Time picks. Go check it out today because I love Game Time, the fact that they have an all-in feature where you toggle in all-in pricing and it shows you the exact total you're going to pay right then with no surprise fees at checkout. That makes buying tickets a breeze. Lowest prices guaranteed, and you even get a view from your seat if you want to dance around the Paycom Center and maybe sit somewhere you haven't sat before, see what that's like. You can view their map of every single seat in the arena and see what best is for you. Now check out the Game Time app today by downloading the Game Time app, creating your account, and using code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions apply. Again, create your account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Go download the Game Time app. What time is it? It's game time. Also want to say right now, but good friends over at Rocket Money, go check them out today because Rocket Money helps you find the subscriptions that you forgot about. We've all been there. We've all signed up for a free trial. You have 7 days and you forget to cancel it. And now all of a sudden that's eating away at your money and it's something that's slipping your mind to go do and go handle. Rocket Money comes in. They track all those things down for you. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal financing app that helps you cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year. So when using the app's premium features, you can have all of those rewards. For me, I for some reason was paying for Spotify and Apple Music, and they helped me solve that issue. Go check that out today by canceling your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money by going to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon, rocketmoney.com/lockedon. We're back on the Lockdown Thunder podcast, on the Lockdown Podcast Network, your teams every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you, talking Thunder basketball. Joined today by Brandon Rahbar at Brandon Rahbar on Twitter, dailythunder.com, 1077 The Franchise, and KREF. Brandon, you do everything, including OKC Dream Team, where we recap these games there as well. And we're double dipping tonight. Hopefully, going to double dip Saturday if you put enough pressure on Brandon in the comments down below. But Brandon, despite the win, it was not all great. And one of the big complaints has been the Thunder's three-point shooting, which they shot 35% from three tonight. They made one less than Indiana in this game, despite taking one more attempt from beyond the arc. And it kind of rests on the 1-for-7 shooting from Isaiah Joe. And I know that people are going to want us to get on here and have these raging reviews of what happened. But for me, it's pretty simple. You have a lot of guys who are capable of shooting. You don't have a lot of guys who are consistently sharp shooters. And the Thunder promised that they were going to up their three-point volume. With that, you're going to see a drop-off in efficiency where a year ago, they're the most efficient three-point shooting team. Now that they're in the middle of the pack and really below average, I would imagine from now through this stretch from three-point percentage. But to me, it's not as big of a deal as it may seem because, first of all, Joe and Wiggins aren't even eligible to be traded until the middle of January. So there's nothing really you can do if you want to do them in the interim. And for the most importantly, even if you want to keep those guys and believe in those guys, what else do you want them to do? Like they're taking really high quality looks. They're generating the most open threes in the NBA. They're just not hitting wide open shots. And you can't not play Isaiah Joe ever. You can't turn down just layup line level threes, especially from a guy who's shooting around 38% from three this year. There's just a throw your hands up moment of eventually something has to turn.
Yeah, I understand the frustration. Like tonight, Isaiah Joe, they set up some incredible shots, some wide open shots. But those are the shots that you want. You want your best 3-point shooter, and Isaiah Joe is the Thunder's best 3-point shooter to take wide open threes, and he did tonight. They just happen to not go in. That's going to happen whether you're Isaiah Joe, whether you're Steph Curry, whoever you are. Sometimes you're going to miss some open threes. I get the frustration, but Isaiah Joe has a history. Like the sample size is too large. He's been too elite of a 3-point shooter for too long. If anything, I take this as encouraging because that means like positive regression to the mean is coming and it'll hit in a big way at some point because he's been too good of a 3-point shooter for too long. And the Thunder are still winning. Like they're number one in the West with a big cushion. They won 9 straight. And Isaiah Joe is struggling from 3-point range. So to me, that's encouraging. He's going to get better. He didn't forget how to shoot. There's going to be nights where, he goes 6 of 8 from 3 and he's going to win some games or, there's going to be times where Isaiah Joe hits a big 3 to give the Thunder a lead. And Isaiah Joe, to me, is still making a positive impact when he's on the floor because of the spacing he provides, because of the outlet, because you can't just leave him open. You're going to have to shade guys to him. And if teams were to leave him open, he's going to hit those. Like he didn't tonight, but he will. He's too good of a shooter not to.
Yeah, I think that you're just waiting for the turn to tide because you look at these guys who were mostly on the team last year, and for example, Caruso, who was on the team last year but did shoot 40% from 3, and even if you think that that's an outlier, he shoots 38% from 3 for his career. He's shooting in the 20s right now from 3, and he was also hurt in this game. But like, you just can't expect that to keep up. Eventually, something has to give. Even if they're not going to get back to that 40% mark, they've got to get much closer to it than they are right now. And you need Isaiah Joe to break out of this incredible cold streak where he's like 1 for 12 since that Rockets game in the semifinals. That's just not good enough. And he knows it's not good enough. The team knows it's not good enough. But by the same token, there's not much to do. I mean, I get that you have to complain about it. I get that it's not good enough, but it's not like they're taking just contested shots and they're avoiding getting to the rim for the sake of taking more threes. They're not just doing this because they said they were going to. They're taking really high quality looks, again, generating the most open threes in the league. It's just not working. It's just not falling for them. And perhaps it's a trade. Perhaps it's these guys getting better. Whatever the answer is, they have to find that answer before the postseason, but we'll see if they can get that answer. So we've talked about Shai being the MVP. We've talked Isaiah Joe and the Thunder's cold streak from 3. But what a game from A.J. Mitchell, Brandon. I mean, this guy looks like a 20-year vet. He's only a rookie. I think that it's easy to fall in love with the way that he plays at his own pace. He's never really sped up on either side of the floor, which is rare for a rookie. And offensively, I mean, he's getting to the rim and getting to his spots and now figuring out how to convert there as well to where he's become one of their best, and I would say, their very best producer off the bench in lineups in which Kaysen starts for Oklahoma City.
Yeah, and he's been really consistent. He's been in the rotation from day one, and he's coming off a game where he had 16 points and 12 rebounds, his first career double-double. He had 9 points tonight, only missed 1 shot. And the thing that sticks out to me about AJ is that he just plays mistake-free basketball. He makes the right play, which, again, he's a rookie. He does not play like a rookie, much less a second-round, two-way rookie. Nobody expected A.J. Mitchell to get into the rotation from day one on a contending team, a deep contending team that, by the way, had a lot of guards. Everybody already thought they had too many guards and questioned why they took another guard. And here he is playing so well. He's the top 10 rookie in the NBA this season, and that's not me saying that. That's NBA.com, the rookie ladder. He made his debut number 9 this week on the rookie ladder. I think deserved. I'm glad that he's getting some recognition because he's played really well, really smart basketball, really efficient basketball. He's played good defensively as well. It's not just the offensive side all season long. So big props to AJ Mitchell. You've got to be impressed by a two-way second-round rookie making a big impression and making a difference on a contending team.
Yeah, I think that AJ's been stellar, and I know that there's a growing concern or kind of lingering question of when is that conversion coming. I still think it'll happen near the deadline or after the deadline, just for the sake of flexibility and to kind of explain that. Right now, Brandon Carlson's a sitting duck. I mean, he's hurt right now, but he's also not going to play. You're going to cut him fairly soon. Like eventually throughout this, you're going to cut him. And when you do, then that opens up the ability to, at the deadline, take on an extra guy in a trade. Maybe you take on 4 guys and send out 3 or whatever math you want to do to take on extra guys. That spot that's right now reserved for Carlson can be reserved for a guy to take on at the deadline and then cut that guy to go and create this spot. It's the exact same playbook that Sam Presti used with Aaron Wiggins, who from the word go, everyone knew, even from Summer League, everyone knew that they were going to convert Aaron Wiggins. It just did not happen until after the deadline. They make that trade with Miami, I believe it was, where they got Omni and immediately cut him and then immediately convert Aaron Wiggins to a standard contract, which was mirrored after a first round deal with non-guarantees. I imagine that's what AJ's deal is going to look like as well. So it's just running back that same playbook. And look, perhaps nothing materializes. And guess what? It would not matter. You would then just cut Carlson and convert AJ Mitchell, and you're in the exact same spot you otherwise would have been. But there's no reason to slam that door shut on that potential flexibility for a guy who's eligible to play 50 games on a 2-way contract. So until he gets to that 50 game mark, there's literally no reason to convert him. They're going to do it by the playoffs. Therefore, he'll be eligible to be on the playoff roster. Everything is going to be okay on that front. And to your point, Brandon, when he was drafted, too many guards. You know who else they said too many guards about was Cason Wallace. So maybe every single time you draft someone, just say there's too many guards, and then they're going to turn into really good players.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's funny is they also have Nikola Topic waiting in the wings, another guard that they took in this draft. And yeah, too many guards. And look, I mean, apparently they know what they're doing. They will throw out 5 guards in a lineup. They don't care. Oh, you're playing 2 bigs, 2 7-footers, 5 guards. That's what the Thunder are going to respond with. And they've played really well that way. AJ Mitchell, if you're wondering when the contract is going to happen, the real standard contract is going to happen, I think it's going to happen the 51st game, because he's going to get 50 games in the NBA. He's going to play all 50, and then come, the first 51st game of the season. If you want to look that up and see when it is, circled in, because I think there is 0 chance that AJ Mitchell is not going to get a standard NBA contract. He's going to get one, and it's going to happen, probably the 51st game. It's coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a absolute certainty for this happening for Mitchell and for the Thunder. And you're right, 51st game, which would be Memphis on February 8th. In Memphis is the 51st game. So we'll see how that all shakes out with Oklahoma City and their trade deadline flexibility and moves. But yeah, it's going to be simple. As of this very moment, it's going to be waiving Carlson and signing AJ Mitchell. No problems asked. But AJ did play mistake-free basketball, much like the rest of this roster. And in clutch time, it came down to execution. We'll tell you how the Thunder out-executed Indiana. But first, I want to say right now, but good friends over at Robinhood Gold, go check out Robinhood Gold today, because with Robinhood Gold, you do not need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows you to get rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn a very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides you the privilege of the high net worth from any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up today at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms and conditions apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risks. Rates may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast and Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you talking Thunder basketball. Brandon, the Thunder pulled out a win in this game that saw 11 lead changes, 6 ties, and a Pacers 15-point lead. They did it in large part due to the turnovers. The Thunder had 3 total turnovers in this game. Indiana had 11, which is not a high mark against this Thunder defense. But the Thunder are able to protect the ball so much that they can still make 11 turnovers become a lopsided affair in that category, and thus capitalize on those turnovers where they had 10 fast break points. Indiana was able to have 12 fast break points because of their rebounding disparity, which they won the rebounding battle by 9 boards. But the Thunder outpaced them in second chance points 13-10, and then score more points in the paint 50-38 compared to Indiana, with shooting breakdowns of 40%, 46% from the floor, 35% from three, and 79% at the line. Indiana had 47%, 38%, and 72%. But Brandon, at halftime, each team had 2 turnovers. In the second half, it was simple. The Thunder had 1 turnover and Indiana had 9. And that came down to clutch time execution and an ability for the Thunder to win this game. Because of those 9 turnovers, 3 of them for Indiana came in that fourth quarter, where the Thunder were able to separate and get this win.
Yeah, that's been a theme of this Thunder team all season long. They turn the ball over at an incredibly high rate, at a historic rate, and they take care of the ball better than any team in the NBA. And if you're wondering, like, there's nights where the other team is out rebounding the Thunder. They're taking more free throws than the Thunder. They're shooting better from 3 from the Thunder. You're like, how are the Thunder, first in the West, won 10 straight? They look like a dominant team, and sometimes they can't shoot well, and sometimes they can't rebound well. It's because of those 2 things. They turn the ball over, they get their hands on a lot of balls, and they take care of the ball. And I think, again, that goes back to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as far as taking care of the ball. He and J-Dub, for being high usage players, especially SGA, for being, a superstar that has the ball all the time. He is incredibly secure with the ball. He does not turn the ball over at a rate that most superstars do that have the ball as much as he do. And J-Dub as well. I think he's really, he keeps the ball secure. Just really impressive on that end, especially for a young team, like collectively as a whole, to take care of the ball and to value each possession the way that they do. And then on the other end, obviously, we've seen from this team how much they turn the ball over. So, when you do that, you negate a lot of times the other team shooting better or rebounding better or going to the free throw line more.
Yeah, and it was really guys like AJ Mitchell who allow you to have this success, because everyone who does not have the ball a ton did not turn the ball over. The 3 turnovers was 1 from Shai, 2 from J-Dub, and that's going to happen within the flow of the game because their usage rate is so high. And what kind of flips the switch of why the Thunder have been so successful keeping the ball and then forcing turnovers has been that their peripheral guys do not give it away. And so if you limit it to just your top guys with a couple turnovers here and there, you're able to manage this stretch and massage your way to a low turnover game. But with that being said, we got to talk J-Dub. Another struggling night from him. 20 points, but on 36% shooting from the floor, 2 for 6 from 3. For me, I really want to see J-Dub become more physical, become more aggressive, and just be looking to dunk the ball instead of looking for floaters and layups where you're not going to get contact that way. You're not going to get the foul call that way, as we've seen this season. Relentlessly get deep into the paint, rise up for dunks where you're more forceful, and thus you do get more obvious contact, and then you can get to the free throw line more. Whenever he turned the corner on Miles Turner and went and slammed it home, that was one of his best plays of the night, his very best play of the night, even for J-Dub. He's just got to figure out, as a third-year guy, how to be a consistent 48-minute force at the rim and punishing the rim with dunks.
Yeah, I think that's where his next step is going to come, is the physical contact and drawing fouls. And I think he attacks the rim. Sometimes he's not getting the whistle that he should be getting. I think he got frustrated tonight because he kept attacking and he didn't get any calls until the very end, with like a minute and a half or 2 minutes left. He finally got a call. He got he had to get a bloody lip and he get tripped and knocked to the ground to finally get a call. I agree with you. Like, his ferocious dunk that he had, I think it was kind of a pent up frustration that he kept attacking and not getting any calls. And he kind of took it out on Miles Turner and the rim there. But I do think that that's the next, kind of evolution of his game is learning how to draw fouls. He's still a really young player. It's a skill. Like, drawing fouls is a skill that you learn in the NBA. It's a talent. And I think that that's the next step for J-Dub is learning how to use his physicality and drives to the rim to pick up those whistles that he, a lot of times he probably is not getting a fair whistle, but then there's a lot of times where, he can learn to draw the contact and get the foul where they have to blow the whistle.
Yeah, I think that you're right on that. And up next for the Thunder is the Charlotte Hornets. And Brandon, I think this is a pretty important game, not just because it's the next game, but because of what happens afterward. And I know that it's very tough to go 3-0 each week. And I know it's very tough to win 10 straight games and that there's professional players on each side. But the Hornets have a 1% chance of winning this game, talent-wise. They're very beat up. They don't have the talent even when healthy, but especially not whenever they're depleted. You've got to win this game, I think. And I know that's a lot of pressure, and it's not as though the sky's falling if they lose, but you're coming back home to take on Memphis and Minnesota and New York and the Clippers and Boston. These are all teams capable of beating the Thunder and capable of producing really bad nights for J-Dub, to where if he has an off night and a bad shooting streak, and a bad shooting streak from the rest of this roster, you could see the Thunder be in peril for a couple of these games. So you need to stockpile a win against a very beatable and a team that you should just dominate on Saturday against Charlotte. How much are you looking forward to this Charlotte game from that aspect?
Yeah, from the aspect of this can be a 10-game win streak for the Thunder, which I think would be a really nice cap to how good the first half of the season has gone for the Thunder, and to kind of close out 2024 by winning 10 straight. But like you said, the most important thing, you want to stack as many of the easy gimme wins as you can, because I know the Thunder have a big cushion right now, but the Grizzlies are waiting. The Nuggets may figure some things out. So if you want to keep that 1 seed with the schedule coming up, as you said, stock full of elite teams coming up, get the wins in the win column that you can get, that you need to get. So I think from that standpoint, it's incredibly important. You got to get all the gimmies. You have to. I know that the 1 seed for the Thunder is something that they accomplished last year. You want to do it again. You want home court advantage throughout the playoffs. This is a contending team. I think it's important to nail that down. So you got to get the gimmies.
I'm putting together a great NIL package for Brandon to double dip again on Saturday. We'll see if I pull that off on Saturday's recap of the Hornets. But until then, be good and be good to one another.